Hello again, or hello if you have not been here before. This is a day I've been looking forward to for a long time, and unfortunately it's a disappointment. It did not end up the way I wanted it. Exactly 1 year ago I got my PSA back at 125, and in the year that's gone by, as you know if you follow my channel, I've done what I could do in order to bring that PSA down. I've met a lot of different people on my way. Most people have been very quiet about what I'm doing because I think most people, they don't understand why I decide to do my own thing, because they would instinctively have jumped for whatever treatment a doctor would have suggested. But as I think you all know, if you've seen my channel, you know that I do not disagree with using the treatments, but I do consider them being the backup solutions because they are so devastating to the body. So I've been doing my best, and I got my 124 exactly a year ago, and I was hoping to have, well, in the process obviously it's been lurking in my brain that it would be nice if I had healed it actually on my own, but that has not happened. But even worse so, I got one of my highest PSAs so far. I had an increase from my previous PSA about a month ago with a whopping 14%. So I'm now sitting at 97.42. I got this message just an hour ago, and I needed that hour before I make this video because it knocked the wind out of me. It didn't take long for me to realize that that's just the thought process that is wrong then, really, because when the sun sets, when I started out a year ago, it was 124. I got it down to 97 by doing antibiotics, and that's where I'm sitting right now. Actually, minutely less than it was there, but we're talking so small that it's just a coincidence. And I'm still not above 100, so 1 year later with metastases, to be able to keep it at this level, I think it's good. I have had a lot of people on my way commenting on it, and the critics, the really hard critics, they don't like it, and they keep mentioning that you can't measure it by PSA and you cannot trust the PSA and you have to do other things in order to do it. And they add the fact that they would not recommend anybody doing what I'm doing. And that obviously has sparked me a little bit, because why would you not want a good life? Why would you go for something that is well documented to kill you just because it is well documented, rather than doing something that isn't documented and then have a good life? But yeah, 97.42, that's where we are sitting right now. And the reason why I'm recovering fairly easy on that one also is that I knew that it would be a higher number, or I was expecting it to be a higher number. There was a variable that I was not able to tell, whether I've actually done so well on my protocol that I brought my number down to say 65 or 70, and then the last week or two where I knew that something went wrong, that it would increase it to the same level as before. This does not seem to be the case. I think I've probably been hovering around the same numbers as before, and then because it went wrong for a couple of weeks ago, it escalated to the 97 and is there. And when I'm saying doing wrong, I'm talking about my liposomal vitamin C. I made my own liposomal vitamin C, and as I've told in other videos, I also did the extra effort of seeing if there were any liposomes in my mixture, and I couldn't find any. But as a friend of mine pointed out, it's a very cheap microscope, maybe it can't see it. So in order to verify whether my microscope actually can see these things, then I have ordered two different kind of liposomal vitamin C's from factories that has got a good reputation, and then I want to check that out. And then I'll be verifying whether my microscope is actually able to see the liposomes. I've just got those like 10 minutes ago, and right away I went to the microscope, but one of the, I only tested one because I got a little bit blown away by the fact that it's a powder I got in there. I thought that in order to have liposomes it has to be a liquid form, but this was actually the brand that came recommended in some website, but obviously I don't know if the recommendation was just based on an affiliate agreement and not really a good product. Yeah, but the reason why the PSA then went up is because I was doing these liposomes and liposomal vitamin C, and I was doing 12 grams a day, 12,000 milligrams, and that's a lot because the body have a certain amount that it can absorb, and beyond that, the body will just excrete it. Either you get diarrhea or you pee it out. And for the last week or two, I've had some issues with slow peeing. I know my prostate has been agitated, and the urine has been very, very yellow, despite me doing the best I can to hydrate. And I know it's because I've been secreting all these vitamin C's, and that has annoyed my prostate, obviously, and that in turn obviously agitates enough to create a higher PSA number. I am very, very certain that that's where I got to look for the problem. I did stop the vitamin C about a week ago, but my problem has not really subsided. So I will give it a shot with something else. Now I've just really noted that my lecithin, sunflower lecithin granulates has finally reached Bangkok. I can see that on the tracking after not moving for a week. I ordered that a month ago, but at first shipment got lost apparently. And so I'm really hoping that by doing it with granulate, which seems to have a little bit more oil to it, that it will create proper liposomes. But what can I say? It's annoying. I've also been a little bit more slack on my RSO. Kind of lost the faith that it works because I've been on full protocol on that for several months now, and my PSA has not been budging. Now, obviously, I can't tell if it's without the RSO would have been escalated into something much worse, and that means in terms it actually is working. But I obviously want more than just a status quo. I want it really to be reduced. So the important part when doing things like this, at least for me, is that I have something positive to work with, and that there is a reason for things. So the first positive thing is that there is a reason why my PSA has escalated, and I wanted actually to make a video about it before I get my PSA, as I normally do, just to give a little feedback before I get blown away by the result, whatever it is. So I knew that the PSA was going up. I had a good feeling it was going up. I just had too many problems for that to work, and I've also been a little bit lax, like I said, with the protocols. I don't do my fenbendazole anymore because it's too expensive. I am on full protocol, if you will. There ain't really a protocol source, but I'm at 680 milligrams of melatonin every day. I have been on that for a month. I don't know how long it takes. I think I've read somewhere that it takes about a month or two before it starts to kick in. And if that's the case, obviously I have to wait for that to work. The RSO, I still got full package for about 2.5, 3 months. But I am tiring out of that protocol, so I don't really know what to do about it. So going forward, we will have the Lipsomil I've ordered. I'll make another video about those Lipsomils that I bought. But I bought some in capsule form, and I will check out how they work. And I will also be starting to do regular ice bath. I know that many people say you can't trust what Joe Rogan says. He's a very entertaining guy, and it's not really him I'm trusting, but I did see, a friend sent me that link, a link about a guy who had a PSA at 7, didn't really comment on why it was at 7, whether it was just prostatitis or whatnot, but nonetheless, by doing ice baths and exercise right after ice bathing, it's just doing 3 minutes at a time, he was able to reduce that PSA number to 1. So what I'm thinking is, if I can just reduce that by 50% on my own doing that, then I'm already happy. So the toolbox is not empty. Adding the fact, as I think I've mentioned in another video as well, I have got a whole series of meditation series from Joe Dispenza, which I'm going to make use of, and there are scientific evidence that you can actually cure yourself using meditations and cure yourself from cancer. This is not just hearsay. It's not just people standing in a tent doing some preaching or whatnot to do a little bit of money. This is science-backed results where they are measuring values in the blood, they are measuring biomarkers, and they are also measuring brain waves, and they're doing a lot of other interesting stuff that physically have proven that it does work. The scientist has yet to figure out exactly how that can be, but the evidence is out there, proven black on white, that it does happen. Just can't really explain why and how. but meditation seems the way to go. So that's going to be my focus here. And I think I mentioned it in some other groups sometimes where people are asking, have you got any good evidence of this to work and this to work? And I did say a while ago that I don't think any of the supplements you do is actually going to work unless your mind is into it. And in that sense, I think that the whole supplement business is to a certain extent just as crooked as the big pharma business is, because it's preying on people who have a dire need for solving some medical issues, and they're just preying on that. It is not to say that fenbendazole does not work. It is not to say that garlic doesn't work. It's not to say that any of all these other things doesn't work. But as I mentioned in some of these comments, it is something that works as an aid on your own mindset. So if you have the right mindset and you're taking these supplements, it will help you progress faster. But if you're just going out there and you're shoveling down in your basket whatever you've seen on YouTube or whatever you've seen on Facebook people doing, because they have all sorts of fancy words telling you why they're doing it, but you don't really believe in it yourself, you're just panicking and you just want to have it solved right now. So you do black seed and curcumins and pomegranate juice or whatnot. If your mind is not there, it ain't gonna work. And so when I'm looking at my own data, and I can see that my lowest PSA was in December when it was down to 78. That was at the time where I was just starting out with all my protocols. Actually, not really protocols, but I was starting on researching. And I was full of positive attitude towards it all, because I thought this is going to be maybe not a walk in the park, but it's not going to be all that difficult, and it's not going to be all that terrible, which is more important, because that's what the public treatment are in my perspective. It is terrible. And I'm still there where I'm saying, yeah, I might be ending up opting for a 1 or 2 shots of the ADT, but I'm still very keen on having something on track before I do that. And right now I don't have anything on track. Being slammed back to 97 has a good reason, you could say, but it's just not working the way I want. So it's not the best of days. It's not the best of days. 14% increase, and I cannot no longer brag about my 30% decrease since my original number, because I read somewhere that they will consider a 30% change in your PSA as being significant. So I've been on a significant change for quite a while, but now I'm no longer significant. If anything, I'd say a 14% change is pretty significant, but it's in the wrong direction. So I thought I would do my PSA test every 1.5, maybe 2 months, but with a 14% increase in just 1 month, I'm kind of forcing my hand here, and I have to do the next PSA around the 20th of September. So I will do that. I'll do that. Yeah, not the best of news. And I also wanted to record this on a proper camera with a proper sound system, but guess what? That failed me totally today. 5 attempts and the camera just shuts down on me all the time, because one of you guys, and you know who you are, Lap, thank you, you mentioned that the sound quality is not the best on my phone. So this bad view or this bad news kind of thing is recorded with a bad voice as well. What can I say? Until next time, stay happy and healthy.